Hello, welcome to Inside Politics on A News. My name is Anastasiya Lavrina. Today we have a very special guest. Joining me now is Secretary General of the Conference on Interaction and Confidence Building Measures, CICA, in Asia, Ambassador Kairat Sarybay. Mr. Ambassador, warm welcome to Inside Politics.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. So Azerbaijan has its chairmanship since 2024, which will last until 2026. Let me start with a broad question. Could you share your impressions about Azerbaijan's chairmanship?
Yes, you mentioned absolutely rightly that the chairmanship of Azerbaijan in CICA commenced just in 2024, but we have to define it was in the very late of 2024 in December. But despite the very short time from the beginning of Azerbaijani endeavor within the CICA, we do observe the very proactive approach and a very high dynamic. I expect that this 2 years will be full of events. It will be a very much interesting time for member states. What is very special to this time when Azerbaijan took over the chairmanship, we living in the time of global transformation first, because we do observe that a bipolar world is already out. Single polar world is not anymore wished, and multipolar war is not yet established. And we do observe also the rise of a different new powers. In Asia, I think it's a new engine of the global dynamics. CICA has its own dynamics, and we're living also in the time of transformation. I would let you just remind that 2 years ago, at the last summit in Astana in 2022, CICA leaders unanimously agreed to start the transformation process, moving towards establishing CICA as full-fledged international organization. What that means? It means that we need a more effective CICA, but we have to admit that we need the legally binding document, and this is quite important, that CICA will be not only institutionally well developed, but CICA will have its own charter that will include the further development of CICA.
It's a fully operational international organization.
By the way, CICA today is fully operational international organization, but without the mentioning by legally binding document. This is the only element which we need now. Saying that, we should also admit that CICA developed its institutional structure very well. First, we have governing bodies regularly meeting each other every 4 years. So last summit meeting was in 2022. We're expecting that here in Baku, 2026, Azerbaijan will host the next summit. We have ministerial level governing body. And by the way, at the Astana summit, we agreed on the renaming our governing bodies or institutionalizing our governing bodies from the meetings into the council. So we will have another additional ministerial council meeting this year, scheduled to September on the margins of UN General Assembly high-level week. We're expecting also very important further steps during this gathering. We have senior official committee meeting, which will commence its works very, very soon. We have advisory bodies. We have established the very specific areas for more deepened interaction within the Youth Council, within the Business Council, within the Think Tank Forum. We have also established the Council of Eminent Persons. We have a special mechanism to facilitate the implementation of confidence building measures, CBMs. This is the CICA fund. So what I have to say, we have a very well-developed menu or mandate of our organization. We have a very unique document, catalog of confidence-building measures, which has 5 main clusters of interaction, for interaction between our member states, where we have a very classical military political dimension, we have very classic economic dimension, but we have also environmental dimension, human dimension. We have already structured institutions to work as the international organization, but we're failing only this legally binding document that will pronounce or that will declare CICA as intergovernmental organization.
Indeed, that's very interesting, especially because, if I'm not mistaken, the decision is being made by the consensus when all member states should be agreed on what is being adopted within this organization. Within its chairmanship, Azerbaijan has proposed a conceptual document which outlined the future development of CICA, and this particular document has specific agendas in all of those aspects you said me previously. Let me have several questions covering each of them separately. Let me start with the environmental dimension. November last year, Azerbaijan held a very important event globally, COP29, which brought together approximately around 80,000 participants from all around the globe. Therefore, how do you see Azerbaijan's contribution as a host of this event to advance the climate agenda and general environmental issues of all CICA members for the future?
I was one of these 80 plus thousand guests, and I have to admit, Azerbaijan has competence to lead the global agendas, and the presidency in COP29, the same. Your role as a chair of non-aligned movement, activities of Azerbaijan within the Security Council, UN Security Council, in chairing different other regional organizations, including OIS or ECO. It was actually the new momentum when Azerbaijan moving from one international organization chairmanship to another, bringing new elements, but based on the legacy. This is a very much appreciated approach, and that is why Azerbaijan has the trust of member states that it will be very much based on the legacy of previous chairmanships, but also it will be very much innovative. And having said that, I would say that the COP29 and Azerbaijan input to the global climatic agenda is very high. It cannot be stopped. In my conversation with His Excellency Foreign Minister Ceyhun Bayramov, I was told that the climatic agenda will be part of the job of diplomats. Human part of labor power will be devoted to these thematic just to bring further or to bring another results within that agenda. I spoke with His Excellency Mukhtar Babayev, and I realized that Azerbaijan should continue its chairmanship in this climatic agenda, and we will see the repercussions, or let me say, a good reflection of this great achievement within the CICA framework. Not only focusing on purely environmental things, but also having the cross-dimensional actions. First, let's outline what is the environmental agenda within the CICA. We have great countries that already produce a good product within the environmental dimension. It's Mongolia, it's Bangladesh, it's Thailand, it's Iran, it's China as coordinator or co-coordinators within the several priority areas of that dimension. But we have also some other states with the green idea, be it Tajikistan or Kyrgyzstan on glaciers, or on preserving and developing mountainous area, be it Egypt promoting the water agenda, be it generally Central Asia, where the regional approach to water management is quite important because it's a country with some risks. But be it Kazakhstan, previous chair, President Tokayev proposed to host very first ministerial level meeting on environmental issues. And this body produced a very meaningful, very substantial statement. So you can see that we have already a well-prepared ground where Azerbaijan can bring new ideas, the experience gained during your chairmanship in the COP will be very much articulated and will have new results within the CICA.
Right, you mentioned very important moment. Each country willing to participate in a green energy transition, to have some energy development reforms, but we should understand that the situation differs from one country to another, and it's important to take into account the position of every single member of the organization. Transport connectivity, that's another very, very important issue, and Azerbaijan, as a country in between of Europe and Asia, is trying to bring this issue for the broader discussion. What's your understanding of the importance of the middle corridor, for example, which will connect the Asia and Europe, which is in the interest not only Asian countries, but also our region, European countries, China. So what about the future transport connectivity among the member states?
Brilliant question, because it's very relevant specifically to the Azerbaijan's activity within the CICA framework as a coordinator of the priority area of safe corridors and transport. Connectivity is a great phenomenon that was introduced to the catalog of CBMs quite recently. But connectivity is a part of our historical life. We all are nomads. We always connected continents to each other because you know that it was particular Asia and just Central Asia where human being domesticated horse, which brought the new dynamic to our cautious. We started to think more quickly because if you are walking, you have to take your decision on your own pace. If you are on the top of your horse, then you have to take your decision quite rapidly. So it's just a side. But connectivity has many aspects and many adjectives. It could be sustainable connectivity, it could be other connectivity, but let's concentrate on transport connectivity, which is very extremely important for the huge part of Asia, where we have so many landlocked countries. And the largest one is Kazakhstan. We have Mongolia, we have entire Central Asia, we have South Caucasus, and where Azerbaijan, despite the vicinity of Caspian Sea, is still landlocked country. So that is why the transport connectivity is a great, has its very great importance for all CICA. Because better connected Asia means better connected globe. If we will have more and more transport and secure corridors, it means that the flow of goods, and besides goods, flow of people, and with people we will have the flow of ideas, will increase the level of our interaction, will definitely facilitate international trade, will definitely facilitate the more prosperity. We will have more trade and economic relations. That will serve also to create a confidence. So connectivity has its first and foremost influence on getting more confidence on the continent, and with that we will serving to the global prosperity and security. And Azerbaijan connecting not only Europe and Asia, it's connecting east to west, north to south, and connectivity means that through connectivity you can also take a leading role to influence regional arrangements. For instance, in South Caucasus, Through connectivity, we can see more peaceful South Caucasus. Through connectivity, we can see more people-to-people contacts, fostering the confidence, fostering the better understanding, and fostering the security, because if you trust in your neighbor, you have more security. So that is why I think that connectivity and transport connectivity itself is quite important. But we have some challenges. First and foremost, the connectivity and transport connectivity must be green today. Because if we will have less water, for instance, in Caspian Sea, that will badly affect the transport connectivity between the ports. By the way, I have to admit that Azerbaijan would like to have the high-level conference of heads of leading ports of CICA area. This is quite important. But coming back to the sustainability of connectivity, we have to think, we have to spend efforts to make that this transport connectivity should be sustainable, should be green. We have to explore more green infrastructure. And we have, of course, take into account the digital connectivity, which also quite important. And saying that, we have to secure this digital connectivity from the bad guys, that the digital gadgets will be not used to spread the extremist ideas. So we have another phase of connectivity, digital connectivity, which is also very related to economy. If you have better digitalized SMEs, it means, and pandemic showed that through digital platforms, SME could survive. So we have the very complex approach to sustainable connectivity. I would like to remind that President Tokayev, during the Astana summit, also proposed to establish the Council on Sustainable Connectivity with the main focus on transport connectivity. We have to focus first to the transport issues in order to increase the economic and trade relations that can serve also to the better development of the continent and globe. The third aspect of connectivity is the financial connectivity. This is quite important that within the CICA framework we have this idea already well prepared. China, as a chair of CICA, once proposed to hold finance summit, where the financial institutions of our member states can discuss the different ways of mutual cooperation. Because better connected Asia serving to the better connected globe. If we will not have the better coordinated or coherent approaches of financial institutions within the Asia, we cannot think about the global development. Asia is the largest continent, most populous, nowadays taking the engine of economic development, but also a technological development. So we need the digital connectivity, we need financial connectivity, we need transport connectivity, but all of these connectivities must be sustainable one. So I believe that during the Azerbaijan chairmanship, the finance summit will become another advisory body where we can discuss the financial connectivity between CICA member states. And I am very much grateful to Azerbaijan chairmanship that in the vision paper, this finance summit was also mentioned as a priority.
I think that the experience of Azerbaijan of hosting COP29, where the key issue for discussion was financial aspects, will be also quite useful for all member states of the organization. You mentioned green energy transition. That's another very important aspect. As far to know, European countries also relying on Azerbaijan as a potential green energy exporter for the future. There are already some contracts being signed. Therefore, two very important aspects together with the transport connectivity development for the future, which should be among the top priorities for the future organization. And the third very important aspect, which I also would like to talk with you about, is a human dimension. Which priorities and new ideas are brought by Azerbaijan to CICA's human dimension?
Azerbaijan has a very deep culture, very much rooted from one side to the Turkic world, another very influenced by the modernity of European civilization, and serving now as a great place where we can develop new ideas for human beings, preserving our cultural heritage. That the global citizens will be not the one who do not recognize his or her own cultural background. To the contrary, bringing the diversity to the global citizenship. I think this is quite important. It's not a contradiction within itself. We should think globally, but we should be nurtured by our own culture. Just to bring this diversity as a great feature of global citizenship. So I think within the human dimension, there are very interesting new ideas. Just recently, under the Azerbaijani chairmanship, was established the partnership network of leading universities of CICA area. It was another great idea of Kazakh chairmanship implemented in the very beginning of Azerbaijani chairmanship, and I'm very grateful to the government of Azerbaijan that very renowned institution as ADA University or ADA University was nominated as the chair of Coordination Council of this newly established body. Yesterday, I met with His Excellency Hafiz Pashayev. We had very extensive talk how we should launch this another pivotal project for youth. We have also Youth Council, and I'm very much encouraged by the a great appetite of youth of Azerbaijan to do more. To bring new ideas into the youth development, also the continuity of Azerbaijani chairmanship in this theme, inviting the young volunteers to the second rally. The first one was last year in Astana by proposal of President Tokayev of Kazakhstan. And I do see this continuation from one side, but also innovative approaches to bring youth to SDGs. That would be probably the main theme of Youth Council of this year. Talking about youth, talking about cultural heritage, how we can forget about the family, how we can forget about the specific role of women within our societies. I had a very fruitful meeting. Bahar Hanım told me about the new idea of Azerbaijan to bring the issues of women empowerment to the institutional level within the CICA framework. Greatly appreciate this innovative approach, and I think that the women empowerment is very topical today. We have it in our mandate, by the way, within the catalog of CBMs. We have a women empowerment issue discussed at our business council. So I think it's a good new idea to have the institutionalized framework within the CICA that can discuss women empowering issues, which also will serve to some other ideas, children protection, protection of national identity, traditions, and many other aspects. So as you see, it's so many different facets in human dimension.
From your words, I can understand that there is a harmony in between of the member states of the organization and the intention to work together closely. But we cannot ignore the fact that on the global arena, we do have the tensions between the superpowers, as every single state is trying to promote its own agenda to the global matter. security, peace and stability. That's also among the priorities, please correct me if I'm mistaken, of CICA organization. And we do know about our region as well. Azerbaijan is trying to promote peace development in a post-conflict reality. In my understanding, the peace in the South Caucasus should be in the interest of other members and other regions as well. So my question is about how exactly the countries may work closely to bring peace, stability and security within the organization and far beyond.
Yes, unfortunately, we have to admit that Asia, very diverse in its cultural background, economic development, political systems, but we are not too much harmonized our relations, to be honest, because we still have some member states which do not have a diplomatic relation with other member states, or even mutually not recognizing each other. This is the reality, but that is why CICA is very needed. What I do hear from all of my member states that CICA is the right place to be there in order to have the multilateral approaches and discussions with these countries, with them they have no any connection. So CICA giving this opportunity, and I'm so happy that we do see that from the initial 15 member states supported back 25 years ago and put the signature under the very first document, declaration on principles guiding the relation between CICA member states. Nowadays we reach the number of 28. This is not the main idea for CICA to get more and more member states. We would like to serve to the peace, security and stability. But in order to solve the conflicts, we have to bring parties involved in the conflicts to the table of negotiation. Before that, we have to at least place the confidence that this dialogue will be meaningful. Without confidence, your dialogue will be not meaningful. So this is why confidence-building measures still important, and this is why CICA is still important in bringing the parties which do not have the same vision for the future. And this is the desperate wish of the member states. This is quite important. This is not that somebody bringing parties together, but CICA providing the platform, the grounds, where around the same table you can see a different, very different parties with their own ideas, with their own agenda, but we still looking to the elements which uniting us. So confidence is quite important. CICA making initial steps to ease the tensions between parties. We cannot just say, please stop. This is not our right. We do not have such power to say it. Even Security Council cannot stop all conflicts immediately, unfortunately. But creating conducive conditions to parties to enter into meaningful dialogue, to nurture the confidence, maybe to develop this dialogue into the interaction and cooperation. This is the way how CICA acts, from simple to complex, from very basic confidence-building measures to the more institutionalized form of cooperation. So this idea is well received by all member states, and that is why we are growing. And I'm not excluding that one day our platform, our organization, can be also very much attractive to some of your regional neighbors. And that will mean that not only bilaterally, but also on the multilateral platforms, regional players in South Caucasus can produce more tangible, result-oriented efforts, bridging different continents, Europe to Asia, or north to south.
Right, indeed. And One more question, if I may. Being a full-fledged international organization, it's quite logical and obvious that CICA foster its cooperation with other international organizations like United Nations or, for example, Shanghai Cooperation Organization. How do you see this process? What about the benefits and perspectives for the future? If I'm not mistaken, this is one of the Azerbaijani's chairmanship priorities for CICA as well.
This is great that Azerbaijan puts this external relations of CICA, and through the synergizing our efforts with other international partners, raising the visibility of CICA. I think this is a very much effective way to raise the visibility, to raise the, I would say, how people call it, reputation, the international reputation of CICA as a useful platform, or the CICA as a tool of effective diplomacy.
It reminds me how Azerbaijan had its chairmanship within the non-aligned movement.
Absolutely.
Within those years.
Absolutely. The new dynamics that Azerbaijan brought to NAM is very much commendable, and we're expecting that CICA will have the same happiness to see that Azerbaijani chairmanship will bring very new elements, very innovative approaches. And coming back to the synergies with other international stakeholders, from the very beginning, CICA was open to all international organizations, and it was the idea of President Nazarbayev bringing immediately some global universal organizations like UN to our very first summit meeting in Almaty back in 2002. OSCE was also invited to be part of this process as observer, because CICA is not a club, CICA is not a bloc, CICA is not just for the benefit of Asia. CICA is open structure, and you cannot isolate Asia because it's large. You cannot isolate Asia, it's meaningless. You need a very consolidated Asia as a part of global community, and that is why you need partnership. But again, CICA is a very comprehensive platform, and we need also cooperation with very specific organizations. You mentioned Shanghai Cooperation Organization, and we're enjoying very fruitful partnership. We have similar approaches, we have similar goals, but we have some differentiated modalities within the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. All decisions taken by consensus, like in CICA, but it's very obligatory to do all this, to abide with all these decisions. Shanghai Cooperation Organization has already a mandatory fees, and CICA has still voluntary fees. So this is the things where we can learn from each other. And we're talking with my colleagues, Secretary Generals of Shanghai Cooperation Organization, where we can synergize, where we can complement each other. The same, we have a very meaningful dialogue with another very well-known regional organization like Economic Cooperation Organization, ECO. We just established a partnership with some other regional organization, including Eurasian Economic Union. So it means that today's globalized world requests from regional arrangements to have more synergies, but not overlapping each other, but complementing each other. So this is the main idea, and I'm very happy that we have some new ideas how to proceed with our endeavor to make partnerships with other organizations. First and foremost, I would like to mention about UN and UN system. So we established a very fruitful partnership with ESCAP. We are going to deepen our partnership with ESCWA. This is the two social economic commission for Asia Pacific or West Asia. We will have also our partnership with UNECE, which is covering also part of Central Asia and South Caucasus. So we have also a good relation with UNOCT. This is the Office for Counterterrorism, because counterterrorism has its own dynamics within the CICA, and last summit produced very important plan of action, how we can implement the counter-terrorist strategy from the global level to the regional level, to the Asian level. So we have many other regional organizations in our mind, including Asia Cooperation Dialogue, we have League of Arab States, we have some others, and not to forget the OSCE. Despite the very turbulent time within this organization, it was for us a good example to follow in its best way, not in a way that it was not well accepted by OSCE itself. So the international partnerships is quite important, and I'm very happy that Azerbaijani vision paper outlining these external relations as one of its main priority.
Mr. Ambassador, thank you. Thank you so much for joining Inside Politics today. It was a real pleasure to meet with you, to talk with you, and thank you for sharing your knowledge and your experience with us.
Thank you so much. I hope your program will help to raise CICA visibility in your great auditorium.
I'm more than sure in that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thank you, dear viewers, for watching A News. Today we had a very special guest, Secretary General of the Conference on Interaction and Confidence Building Measures in Asia, Ambassador Kairat Sarybay. My name is Anastasiya Lavrina. Do stay with us and see you in the next edition.